My dad's father had 3 wives. My dad left my mother for another woman. Will I be like my grandfather and father? Is that the type of man I will become? Those were the questions I asked myself while growing up. I still remember at the age of 10, hearing my parents argue in their room, my mom angrily confronting the other woman over the phone and the pain that it caused her. My father's actions and my mother's reactions impacted me profoundly. And ever since that moment, I've been afraid of being in relationships with a fear of being like my father. In high school, my first girlfriend ended up cheating on me, the one thing I'm most afraid of committing. And without many masculine role models growing up, I told myself, I'm going to do the opposite of what my father did, which meant being there for my mother and for a younger brother who lives with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. I watched my mother commit her life to my brother as his caregiver. And she modeled her mom, my grandmother, who also cared for her 2 sons, my uncles, that also lived with Duchenne muscular dystrophy until they passed away in their mid-20s. From my mother and grandmother, I learned about sacrifice. So consciously or unconsciously, over the years, I made little sacrifices of my own, knowing that my brother only had so many years to live. And with that, it led to failed romantic relationships, lost job opportunities. And when I watched my friends who I grew up with working overseas, getting married, having children, I sometimes ask myself, did I make the right decision? 5 years ago, I asked my brother what would his dream job be. And because he played power wheelchair for most of his life, his immediate response to me was, I want to be an NHL goaltender, just like Martin Brodeur. We both laughed, knowing that was physically impossible. So I asked him again, and he pondered, and he said, well, I wouldn't mind writing about sports. And that began our journey together, creating a not-for-profit, developing meaningful opportunities for people with disabilities. 4 years ago, I took my family on our first trip together in over 15 years. I drove 5,000 kilometers in the US, and we took a cruise in the Caribbean islands. And I remember watching my brother, even though he was exhausted, traveling every day, he had a huge smile on his face throughout the entire trip. 3 years ago, our not-for-profit gained media access to the Toronto Pan Am Games, where my brother and our team of writers got a chance to interview the athletes that they adored. And to think, within 2 years, my brother was able to achieve his dream. 2 years ago, my brother started his battle with anxiety. And even though our family has had a history with mental health, we avoided to confront it directly. Last year, my brother was at the brink of death, with suicidal thoughts the entire year and with preparations for medical assistance in dying. And as his older brother, it pained me to watch him suffer and to know that I couldn't do anything to relieve this pain and suffering. Today, thankfully, he is a little bit better, but never the same. So was it worth the sacrifice I made? Heck yeah. Am I the man that I've been so afraid of becoming? No. It hasn't been an easy road for me, learning whether or not I'm being a good man, son, and brother, and whether in the future I'd be a good boyfriend, husband, father, and grandfather. And I wouldn't be the man I am today without role models like my mom, my grandmother, my aunts and uncles, who are personal and professional caregivers, and to watch them give and love unconditionally. And they're the ones that inspire me to do the work I do, improving the lives of people with disabilities and seniors. So let's all take a moment to thank the caregivers in our lives, the ones that have made a difference, and acknowledge them for who they are, what they do, and for caring and loving the people that we do. Thank you.